Stop tracking your $5 coffees. A single $1,000 emergency can derail most Americans, according to a 2025 Bankrate report. But the real enemy isn't the expense. It's decision fatigue. In the next 8 minutes, I'll show you the $1,000 rule to eliminate it for good. First, we need to correctly diagnose the problem. It's not what you think.
The reason so many of us feel stuck, stressed, and paralyzed when it comes to money has almost nothing to do with our willpower or how much we want to succeed.
The real enemy is invisible. It's silent, and it's draining your single most valuable resource for building wealth: your mental energy. This enemy is called decision fatigue. What is decision fatigue? In the simplest terms, it's the deteriorating quality of your decisions after a long session of decision-making. Think of your ability to make good, rational choices as a muscle. Every time you use it, it gets a little more tired. You wake up in the morning with a fresh supply of decision-making power. You decide what to wear. You decide what to eat for breakfast. You decide which route to take to work, which email to answer first, which task to prioritize. Each choice, no matter how small, is a rep that fatigues the muscle. By the time 5 p.m. rolls around, that muscle is exhausted.
This is why you're more likely to order expensive takeout for dinner than cook a healthy meal, or binge watch a show instead of going to the gym.
Your brain is simply out of energy for making good, disciplined choices. Now, let's apply this to your finances. The most common budgeting advice out there tells you to do one thing: track everything. Log every coffee, every snack, every dollar. You're told to create complex spreadsheets, use multiple apps, and categorize every single transaction. On the surface, it sounds logical. Knowledge is power, right? But this advice is fundamentally flawed because it forces you to make dozens of tiny, agonizing financial decisions every single day. Can I afford this latte? Should I buy the name brand pasta or the generic? Is this purchase a want or a need? Each one of these questions is another rep, another drain on your decision-making muscle. This approach of micro-tracking doesn't empower you. It exhausts you. It amplifies your financial anxiety and leads directly to burnout, which is why 80% of budgets fail within the first 90 days. People don't quit because they lack willpower. They quit because the system is designed to deplete it. This isn't just a feeling. It's backed by science. Research from the FCAC's 2025 Financial Checkpoints report shows that financial stress actually makes us worse at following financial advice. The very system meant to help is hurting you. When your brain is under constant stress about money, it activates your fight or flight response. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, logic, and impulse control, starts to shut down. Your brain prioritizes short-term survival over long-term strategy. So the more you stress about a $5 coffee, the less capable you become of making the $100,000 decision about your retirement. The advice to micromanage is actively preventing you from seeing the bigger picture. Let's make this real. Meet Alex. Alex is 30 years old, works as a talented graphic designer in Austin, Texas, and earns $64,000 a year. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics data from late 2024, this is right around the median salary for a full-time worker in America. So Alex is doing everything right. They have a good job and a solid income, but Alex feels constantly broke after paying for rent, utilities,
food, and transportation, in a city like Austin, their living costs come out to around $3,200 a month. They see news reports about the 3.1% inflation rate and feel like they're running on a treadmill, working hard, but getting nowhere. Their savings account balance just isn't growing. The real problem, though, isn't just the math. It's the mental toll. Alex spends an incredible amount of mental energy every single day deciding if they can afford small things. Before buying groceries, they check their banking app. Before meeting a friend for a drink, they check their banking app. They probably check their banking app 5 to 10 times a day. Each time, it's a small spike of anxiety. This constant monitoring, this endless loop of micro decisions is exhausting. It's decision fatigue in action. And because all their mental energy is being spent on the daily financial sand, they have zero capacity left to think about the big picture goals. The boulders like retirement, investing, or paying down debt. Alex's budgeting system, the one they were told would bring control, has instead brought paralysis. But Alex is about to have a breakthrough. They realize the problem isn't the $5 coffee. It's the 5 minutes of anxiety spent deciding on it, multiplied by a dozen other small choices every day. The problem isn't their willpower. The problem is their system. And they are now ready for a new approach that saves their mental energy instead of spending it. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we cure financial decision fatigue? It's a simple 3-step, one-time setup. This isn't a lifelong sentence of budgeting. This is a short, focused project that will permanently change your relationship with money. Step 1. Set the target. Your first and only goal is to build a $1,000 liquid buffer. That's it. Not a 6-month emergency fund, not a down payment for a house. Just $1,000. Why this specific number? Because it's not arbitrary. It's a strategic target based on hard data. Bankrate's annual emergency savings report, a cornerstone study in personal finance, consistently identifies $1,000 as the critical threshold for an unexpected expense that would force many American families into debt. This amount is the financial shock absorber that handles the most common life emergencies: a sudden car repair, an urgent dental visit, a last-minute flight for a family matter. Having this $1,000 buffer means that when one of these things happens, it's an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. It's a problem you solve with money, not with high-interest credit card debt or a panicked loan from family. This isn't just a financial goal. It's a psychological one. The $1,000 buffer is the foundation of your financial peace of mind. It's the money that allows you to stop living in a state of constant, low-grade financial fear. Step 2. The 30-day sprint. This is where we get tactical. Your mission is to find and save that $1,000 in 1 month. The key here is to treat it as a sprint, not a marathon. This is not a permanent lifestyle change. It's a focused, temporary blitz on your budget. This framing is crucial because it makes the goal feel achievable rather than overwhelming. You're not giving up lattes forever. You're just pausing them for 30 days. So how do you do it? You attack it from 3 angles. First, you conduct a subscription audit. Go through your bank statements and identify every recurring charge. Be ruthless. For just 30 days, you're going to pause anything that isn't essential. Second, you do a temporary lifestyle downgrade. Identify your biggest variable spending category. For most people, it's food or entertainment, and cut it by a specific percentage for 1 month. If you spend $800 on dining out, your goal is to spend $400 this month. Again, it's temporary. Third,
You look for a one-time cash injection. Can you pick up an extra shift? Do a small freelance project. Sell those old electronics or clothes that are collecting dust. Combining these three strategies makes finding $1,000 much more manageable. Let's go back to Alex. Earning $64,000 with expenses around $3,200 a month, finding an extra $1,000 seems impossible without extreme deprivation. But by using the 30-day sprint framework, Alex makes a concrete plan. First, the subscription audit. They cancel 2 streaming services they barely use, saving $35 for the month. They also pause a gym membership they haven't used in 6 weeks, saving another $50. That's $85. Next, the lifestyle downgrade. Their dining out and social budget is about $800 a month. For this sprint, they commit to cutting it by 50%. They start cooking more, invite friends over instead of going out, and save an additional $400. Now they're up to $485. Finally, the cash injection. As a graphic designer, Alex finds a small freelance project designing a logo for a local business on a weekend, earning them a quick $500. The total is now $985. They're so close. Motivated, Alex goes through their apartment and finds an old tablet and some video games they no longer use, selling them online for $20. And just like that, they have their $1,000. But once you have the $1,000, where you put it is the most important part. Putting it in your regular checking account is a huge mistake. It's a psychological trap that all but guarantees you'll accidentally spend it. I'll show you the right way in 60 seconds. This brings us to step 3. Automate and isolate. This is the step that makes the whole system work. You need to take your hard-earned $1,000 and move it completely out of your daily financial life. You do this by opening a separate high-yield savings account, or HYSA. This is non-negotiable. An HYSA does 2 critical things. First, it creates a psychological and financial barrier. By moving the money to a different bank, it's out of sight and out of mind. You won't see it when you log into your checking account to pay bills, which removes the temptation to dip into it for non-emergencies. It usually takes 1 to 3 business days to transfer money out, and that friction is a feature, not a bug. It forces you to pause and ask, is this a true emergency? Second, and just as important, it puts your money to work. Don't let it sit in a checking account earning nothing, or a traditional savings account earning a pathetic 0.1%. As of late 2024, a high-yield savings account from a place like Ally Bank, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, or Capital One 360 can earn you over 4% APY. According to data from Bankrate and NerdWallet, rates are consistently between 4.0% and 4.5%. This means your emergency fund now makes you money. It's a small but powerful psychological win to see your safety net growing on its own month after month. So, Alex takes their $1,000 and, in about 5 minutes online, opens an HYSA with Ally Bank. They transfer the full amount and set up a rule to never touch it unless it's a real emergency. The buffer is now created, isolated, and automated. Alex no longer needs to check their main checking account balance before buying groceries because they have the confidence of knowing that their $1,000 safety net is there, separate and secure, standing guard over their financial life. The daily decision fatigue starts to melt away. Let me know in the comments. What's one subscription you could cut for 30 days to fund your buffer? Now for the payoff. With that buffer in place, you've earned the right to ignore the small stuff
and focus on the two moves that actually build wealth. This is where we talk about the boulders versus sand analogy. For years, you've been told to focus on the sand, the tiny grains of your financial life, the $5 coffees, the subscriptions, the daily spending choices. You've spent countless hours picking up individual grains of sand, and it has been exhausting, with very little to show for it. The $1,000 rule allows you to stop. The buffer is your sandcastle wall, protecting you from the daily tides. Now, with all that reclaimed mental energy, you can turn your attention to the boulders. These are the handful of massive, heavy-lifting financial decisions that will account for 95% of your wealth-building success. There are only a few of them, and for someone just starting out, 2 are more important than all the others combined. Boulder number 1 is your employer-sponsored 401k. This is the single most powerful wealth-building tool available to most Americans. It has 2 superpowers. The first is its tax advantage. When you contribute to a traditional 401k, the money comes out of your paycheck before taxes are calculated. This lowers your taxable income for the year, meaning you pay less to the government. The second and most incredible superpower is the employer match. This is the closest thing to free money you will ever get. Many companies will match your contributions up to a certain percentage of your salary, often 3% to 6%. If you make $60,000 and your employer matches up to 5%, that means if you contribute $3,000, they will give you another $3,000 for free. That is a 100% instant return on your investment. There is no other investment on earth that can guarantee that. Your absolute top financial priority should be contributing enough to your 401k to get the full employer match. Not doing so is literally turning down a portion of your salary. Boulder number 2 is the Roth IRA. Think of this as your 401k's powerful sidekick. An IRA is an individual retirement account that you open on your own, separate from your employer. With a Roth IRA, you contribute money that you've already paid taxes on. The magic happens on the back end. All of your investment growth and all of your withdrawals in retirement are completely 100% tax-free. This is incredibly powerful. Imagine building a nest egg of $1 million and being able to access every single penny of it in retirement without giving any of it to the government. Between these 2 accounts, the government gives you a clear roadmap for building wealth. According to the IRS, for 2024, you can contribute up to $23,000 to a 401k and $7,000 to a Roth IRA. These are the goals worth your time and mental energy. Let's run the numbers to see why this shift in focus is so critical. Let's compare the impact of focusing on sand versus moving a boulder. Saving $5 a day on coffee is $150 a month. If you invest that $150 every month for 30 years and get an average 8% annual return, you'd have about $204,000. That's not bad. But now let's look at a boulder. Let's say you use your newfound mental energy to increase your 401k contribution by just $200 a month. And let's assume your employer matches that dollar for dollar. That means your actual investment is now $400 a month. If you invest that $400 for 30 years at the same 8% return, you'd have over $544,000. That's more than double the result. just from focusing on one boulder instead of chasing grains of sand. The difference is the leverage of the employer match. This is what we mean by focusing on what truly matters. Let's check back in with Alex one last time. With the $1,000 buffer sitting safely in their WISA, Alex feels a sense of calm and control they haven't felt in years. They stop checking their bank account multiple times a day. They buy their coffee without a second thought. All that mental bandwidth that used to be wasted on financial anxiety is now free. Previously, retirement planning felt too overwhelming and complex to even start. But now, with a clear mind, Alex spends one Saturday morning, just one, logging into their company's 401k portal. They see they are only contributing 3%, while their employer offers a match up to 6%. They were leaving free money on the table. In a few clicks, they increase their contribution to 6%. Feeling confident and empowered, they then go and open a Roth IRA and set up an automatic contribution of $200 a month. For the first time, Alex feels like they are actively building future wealth, not just surviving day to day. The mental relief from the buffer system enabled this huge leap forward. They stopped picking up sand and started moving boulders. So let's bring it all together. The real reason you feel stuck with your money isn't your spending on coffee. It's the constant, draining effect of financial decision fatigue. Trying to micromanage every dollar is a flawed strategy that exhausts your most valuable asset, your mental energy. The cure is a simple one-time project, a 30-day sprint to save a $1,000 buffer and isolate it in a separate high-yield savings account. This single action creates a protective wall around your daily finances, freeing you from constant worry. And once that buffer is set, you earn the right to ignore the financial sand. You can finally focus your energy on the big, wealth-building boulders that truly matter, like capturing your full employer 401k match and automating contributions to a Roth IRA. These are the moves that build real, lasting wealth. Here are your action steps. First, the immediate step. Tonight, identify 2 subscriptions you can pause for 1 month. Just 2. This is your first move in the 30-day sprint. Second, your short-term goal. Open a high-yield savings account this week. It takes less than 5 minutes online and is the most important step in this process. And third, your long-term action. Schedule 1 hour, just one, on your calendar for next weekend. You're going to use that hour to log into your retirement accounts, understand your employer match, and automate your contributions. 1 hour to move a boulder that will change your future. If this framework clarified things for you and gave you a sense of control, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our next video where we'll break down the smartest way to pay off high-interest debt. And while you're at it, I want you to commit to your next move. Leave a comment with the one boulder, either your 401k match or starting a Roth IRA that you're going to focus on next. Finally, if you know one friend who is stressed out about money and could use a clear plan, share this video with them. You could change their entire financial future. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for educational purposes only. All financial decisions should be made with the help of a qualified professional. Investment involves risk.